So there is this thing that some people say, the idea of being colorblind, or I don't see color, in reference to a person's race. Now, some people say this in a way like, hey, I'm not racist, I don't see color at all. But some people say it in kind of saying like, I don't care, in a way that's just basically trying to explain, I don't care and I don't really, that doesn't even register to me kind of thing. But here's the thing, I think it's more than anything a miscommunication, because a lot of people don't like that term, I don't see color, because it feels like you're just not acknowledging a person. It's kind of like one time I was trying to explain something at a youth group. We were having a workshop about trans folk, and I said something which ended up offending a few people, but I didn't mean it to, saying that trans men were invisible to society. And the way they took it was that they could pass as men and that their complaints were invalid and everything else. But what I meant is that they don't have a lot of representation. That's what I meant, in that people don't know that trans people exist, because I've heard anecdotes, and I know from personal experience, until I joined the queer community, I didn't know about trans men. I knew about trans women, but trans men don't have any next to no representation. When they want to put a trans person somewhere, they almost always use a trans woman. That's what I had meant by invisible to society, but unfortunately it was taken the wrong way, and I unfortunately offended some people, and I didn't manage to apologize and explain to everyone, which is a regret I still have today. So I think that's the sort of thing that's getting misunderstood. Now, I used to say that myself because my mom said it, and it made sense to me at the time, until I got other people getting offended by it. Because here's the thing, yeah, my eyes work. I can tell when someone's skin is darker than another, just like I can tell when someone's hair is darker than another, or eyes or whatever. But I think what they're trying to say is that they see skin color the way they see hair color. You see two white people, one of them has blonde hair, one of them has brown hair. That doesn't really make you think anything differently between the two people, right? Unless you're one of the people who thinks all blondes are dumb, but that's a whole other issue. Because that's the way it was and is for me. I see a human being, and I'm like, okay, what can I tell about this person? Okay, well, they're wearing a Doctor Who t-shirt, so they're probably a Whovian. Hey, let's strike up a conversation. Or, oh, she has She-Hulk on her t-shirt. I love She-Hulk. Let's strike up a conversation. These are actual, like, things that happened at school. I'm just, like, popped in my head, because there was this one girl who was Latina, and she was wearing a Doctor Who shirt, and I didn't have any friends in the class at the time, so I was like, hey, you like Doctor Who? Let's talk, because I'm lonely. And then another girl, we became friends. She was black. We became friends out of our mutual appreciation of She-Hulk. So, like, that's the sort of thing. That's what, like, I think what people are trying to say is I don't see color like that. But it gets to be a problem when you say, well, I don't see color. Let's abolish all that. Because the thing is that you can do that maybe once the rest of the world has. By ignoring the fact that, like, you know the Morgan Freeman thing, quote, and I'll put a link in the description if I can find it, by the one janitor talking about this issue. You can't really abolish race or ignore it when there are still so many people who are influenced by it in the world. Because at the moment, there's still a lot of people who think that are still racist and still do all this stuff. So it's great that you don't think you don't judge a person on their appearance or their skin color or whatever, but unfortunately the rest of the world doesn't. So what prompted this was this post about a black ballerina, and it was it shows all these pictures for Teen Vogue about this ballerina. She's a fantastic ballerina. And then so many people are like, this is so fucking important, black ballerina excellence, so gorgeous and elegant. And then someone says, why is this important? I see a girl doing ballet. Stop outlining the difference. It's important that we just admire the skills and aforementioned elegance. Which got some people upset. So, first of all, shut the fuck up and have several seats. Here's why Michaela's own words, why she had to go through being a black and still goes through it. And then talks about her past experience of being discriminated as a black ballerina. And then someone else gives another anecdote of someone that she knew when she went through ballet, and then someone said, also this I don't see color shit is seriously fucking stupid. So I think it's more of people not understanding on both sides. The one side, not understanding what people mean, like I can see color, I'm not technically colorblind, but I don't really care. I don't notice that someone, or I don't let it influence me because they're just human beings. And then there's the other side, but they're not recognizing that those people, black people, Hispanic, whoever, they have a culture to them, they have a background, they have, a sense of self that can identify with their skin color, so they find that offensive and annoying. But then there's also, it kind of feels like people who are saying I don't see color are ignoring all the strife and issues and tribulations that colored race, that colored race, I don't mean like coloreds like that, I mean like that race endures. So I think instead of getting so mad at them, just explain why that's offensive. Because if you get mad at people, they become defensive. They try to, because they see offensive and go defensive. So anger only begets anger, and so understanding begets understanding. So if you get angry at them, they're just gonna be like, fucking crazy people, like, crap, jeez, you're not understanding me, instead of saying, well, actually, that's kind of offensive because. So it's kind of on both sides. Thanks for listening. Of course, before I click, I am white, and I am cisgendered with my thing about the transgender earlier, so I don't speak for them. I'm just from what I've seen on other people's, from what I've heard, and through workshops I've taken and everything else. This is my kind of understanding of it, and the way I've been corrected in positive ways. I'm just trying to share that information because I am white, so I do have privilege. So instead of just saying, hey, stop trying to check my privilege, I didn't choose to be white, I'm like, well, I'm going to use that and try to spread understanding towards those who about those who don't have understanding and aren't always listened to. So I don't think it's great that white people have privilege over other races, but, and if I offended you in any way, please tell me in the comments, and I'll do my best to reprimand it. Thanks for listening again, for saying that.